Welcome back to the Webby O'Neill channel. Plenty of Manchester United news to get stuck into today surrounding Sander Berge, Scott McTominay. We're also going to have a chat about Manuel Ugarte. So get involved in today's chat, Reds, with your own opinions, and we'll try and discuss them throughout today's video. First of all, after the weekend, how are you feeling on this Monday morning? Well, afternoon, sorry.
Yeah, feeling great. United win 3 points. I've also looked back, thought to myself, this transfer window has been excellent. First 2 deals done like that. And then next thing you know, we get Mazda in and we get Dillett in. Bang, done. Now what we're looking forward to, last couple of weeks of the transfer window, the art of the deal. And I think the art of the deal will get done. And United are putting the toe in the water now.
Yeah, art of deals. We have seen some good deals already get done this summer transfer window. And you're expecting 1 or 2 more signings coming in before that transfer window shuts?
I think there'll definitely be one. The way United, the reports are coming out, that they're in there, they're putting bids in. They've had bids for Ugarte. Looks like another bid's going in. I'm just relaxed about it. A deal will get done, but I'm also having patience, and I think you should have patience out there. The deal will get done. One midfield player. That's my choice. Definitely got to get that in. Anything over that is an actual bonus, to be honest. That's how I see it. And that's why I'm happy and relaxed.
Yeah, just going to start off with a report from Simon Jones from the Mail Sport this morning. And it stated that Manchester United have made an offer for Sander Berge, but are short of Burnley's £30 million valuation, while PSG's Manuel Ugarte is favoured if they drop their asking price of £52 million. Sander Berge, for me personally, I'd like it if Man United did bring him in and it was like a direct replacement for Sofyan Amrabat, but we still then went and got Manuel Ugarte, and it'd give us then that strength in depth this season.
Oh, there's a lot there.
There's a lot there, yeah, but for me, I think that would be then, with the signings that we've already made, a very good transfer window from Manchester United.
First of all, with Sander Berge there, I think they're dipping the toe in, putting a price in. Obviously, they're not happy, Burnley. They want 30 million. United don't want to pay that. Is he the choice if Ugarte deal goes down the line? I think what they're doing, United, they're in there for a couple of players, and they're going to get one of them. Yeah. They will definitely get one of them. I think if you look at Ugarte, the transfer valuation, way overpriced, according to Man United. So they're in there and they're just waiting. But Paris Saint-Germain, they might relent. And that's why I think they're going for Sander Berge.
I know you look at it that way, but for me personally, I don't think it's a case of if we get Sander Berge, then we're not going for Ugarte. I actually do believe they want to bolster that midfield area in getting bodies in, and we've already lost Sofyan Amrabat, so we're 1 player down in that midfield area. I think if it was a direct replacement for Sofyan Amrabat, but the #1 priority in that midfield as well is to get Ugarte, I think that's good numbers, and it looks a lot stronger in that midfield area than it did last season. We're getting 2 midfielders in as well.
I think with only a couple of weeks to go till the transfer window closes, I think United are quite right and quite sensible putting a starting bid in for the Burnley player. Because Ugarte, that's been going on for a long time now, 2.5, 2 months easily. And I think United just are putting the bid in as an option because PSG, their main priority is really a striker, and they'll want money to fund that because it just looks as though the deal they want to do for Osimhen, it's a sky-high price. So I think United are just testing the water here. Another week, mess about, see what happens with Ugarte. If that is definitely not on, I think they will go in and get Sander Berge. That's how I look at it, because they don't want to be caught out. This is what I see. I don't think United want to be caught out late on, and when I say late on, the last 3 or 4 days of the transfer window. So the start in the process, which is sensible for Sander Berge. Obviously, some people, I've read lots of comments, I've spoke to United fans this weekend. Some are for, some are against Sander Berge coming in, and it's the same with Ugarte.
Yeah, I know you're looking at it from that way where you see it's either one or the other kind of thing from Ugarte or Sander Berge, but for me, I think Manchester United are looking at both of them and bringing them in for the reasons I stated before.
Yeah.
You look over the weekend over at PSG, I think their centre forward Ramos got injured. Early reports I've seen is going to be out for at least 3 months now. From what I've seen out there as well, they've spent roughly about €170 million already. PSG, they've already got the replacement in for Ugarte, who was left out of the squad over the weekend. So it's clearly not needed at PSG in their eyes. So I can still see a deal getting done, but for that price, what they're wanting, I think it's ridiculous when they've already made a strong statement that he's not part of the plans going forward. So for me personally, I think it's a matter of the art of negotiation, like you said before. And from what I've seen already at Manchester United, I think we can get a deal done. I think for me, if we was to get Ugarte on, let's say, a loan with an obligation to buy at the end of the transfer window, I think that's what Man United are really looking for. And then still getting that Sander Berge with a roughly £25 million. If we can get them 2 midfielders in, for me, that's a good transfer window, what we've actually done. But let's wait and see. There's still, a couple of weeks left of the transfer window. Anything can actually happen.
Yeah, I look at what you're saying there, and I think quite right. If the option's there, I think the money's there for Ugarte. I think what it is with Sander Berge, I think we'd have to sell somebody. I'm going for the 2 players. I'm not knocking it. And the Amrabat equation coming into it, is Sander Berge the option from Amrabat? I think that's a possibility.
I really do think that's the actual option.
Yeah, I look at that, and it's quite sensible when you look at it, when you've just mentioned it there. So going for the 2 is right, but are they able to get the 2? I think the Ugarte money's there. I think the Sander Berge one, I think it depends on a sale, and that looks as though like that could be Scott McTominay. There's talk going on about Scott McTominay now. So they have to get money in. But to get the 2, I think they would have to sell as well.
Yeah, like I was saying about PSG, the centre forward got injured over the weekend. Will they want now to go out and find a replacement for him? There's been a lot of talk over the summer about Osimhen, who you mentioned, from Napoli to PSG. Will they want to go out now and go and get him? And if they do, we all know that that's going to take a huge transfer fee to go and get him. So will that now lower the demands for Ugarte to get rid of him, to free up some wages and get a bit of money in from the Ugarte sale? Let's wait and see on that. But it's a possibility now that they're having to rethink the transfer strategy with 2 weeks remaining.
Well, it must be a big blow for PSG to lose a centre forward now. So the Ugarte transfer fee might come down, and they might have to accept what United, it's needs must by the sound of it for PSG. So they might have to accept United's bid, or United just might have to raise it a little bit, which I don't think would be too much of a problem. So it could be done, and I think both deals could be done. People need to be sold from United. Money needs to be brought in. And the Sander Berge one, like I said at the beginning, I think it's just the start of the negotiation.
Yeah, your ethos says offer Erikson to Burnley in exchange. Yeah, Christian Erikson, it seems to go by really in some conversations that we've had recently. I know we mentioned it earlier on in the summer about is he surplus to requirements here with Erik ten Hag and the actual staff going forward, and he's down that pecking order surely. If we was to bring in Sander Berge and Manuel Ugarte, where would that leave Erikson in the midfield pecking order? He's got to be down there surely. We've
got to have a strong bench. And for me, Erikson doesn't do that strong bench. And bringing in the 2 players we've been discussing would provide cover. One of them might even start in the first 11. But for me, it might not. It might be an option. There's options there for Erikson to be swapped or even added to Burnley's squad.
Yeah, you do look at the way we played last weekend, and you've seen the intensity that he wants there. You've seen the intensity from Casemiro in particular as well. He looked good. I actually thought Casemiro, one of his best performances that I've seen for a long time. I know he was obviously used at centre-back towards the end of last season, etc. But as a midfielder, it looked bright. But you can't really expect that for the majority of this season. So you need a squad that's capable in that midfield area. And you look at it and you think, can Erikson do that? Can Erikson get forward, get in people's faces, press? And I just can't see that. Maybe the last 20 minutes of games, if you want to try and control it. But I can't see him ever starting in that midfield area and having an effective performance in the way Ten Hag wants to play.
You want a strong squad. It's a long, hard season. And Erikson will be on the bench. But when you've seen Erikson come on, especially in the second half of the season, when he has come on, for me, he's not done anything in the game to turn it round when it's been needed. I think his time at United is up, and the possibility of him going or being used in some kind of deal is on the cards.
Yeah, I'd just like to thank everyone for joining us. Everyone saying hello, getting involved in the chat this morning. It's great to see. Get your opinions in on what we're discussing. And one player we've just not mentioned when we're talking about PSG, Manuel Ugarte, is Jadon Sancho. Still a lot of talk surrounding Sancho and whether he'll leave Manchester United. It's clear for me personally, I don't know about you out there, that he's not in Erik ten Hag's plans.
No, he's definitely not in Erik ten Hag's plans, but I can't see him, Jadon Sancho, being in PSG's plans. He's not the main priority position. And is he good enough for PSG? Has he performed? No, he hasn't. So I'd be very doubtful if PSG did even attempt to try and tempt Sancho to go to PSG. You know, plenty of talk of a swap deal with Ugarte and that, understandably from fans and that. But I just cannot see Sancho going there. He is not a priority for PSG. Where Sancho will go, I think there might be a deal before the transfer window closes where he goes out on loan. I just cannot see his high wages, his performances, what people have seen, doesn't give him a transfer value, and United want some money back. But I think what they might have to do is just send him out on loan.
But again, it's about what clubs out there would actually take him on loan as well. You know, Borussia Dortmund, they took him on loan last season. Has that done his profile any good? By the looks of it, no, it's not. Because there's no other clubs out there who are like interested in him and anything concrete at least.
Yeah, well, the reason why no other clubs are interested in him, because they can see what we can see. We've just got a player what's never performed on a regular basis. You might have had 1 or 2 games out of him. That's it. I can't really think of too many on my hand about Jadon Sancho. I think clearly Man United will have to pay a large proportion of his wages when they send him out on loan, because for me, his place is blocked in that team. Place is blocked, whether it's down the centre, as a false 9 or as a winger, either side. It's just blocked. So best thing for Jadon Sancho is to sort out a deal, and hopefully United can do it and get rid of him.
Leon Dyer, thanks for joining us and everyone else out there. You're looking at the start of the transfer window with the discussions that we've had personally, and a lot of yous out there. Lindelof was always on the top of my list to maybe get sold in this summer transfer window, but I've just seen recent pictures from his missus on Instagram with him on crutches. Yeah,
he was on a crutch there. So that Lindelof, I think the injury became from the Liverpool pre-season game.
Yeah.
Looking at him there with the crutch, the injury seemed worse than actually we were told. So being on a crutch...
Well, hopefully there's some clubs out there who want to buy players that are injured, like Manchester United, and don't mind buying injured players. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just a joke, that, by the way.
Yeah, it was a joke. It brings into question the centre-half position. Maguire went off, holding his hamstring. I think United are trying to play that down. Yeah. So what would that leave? It would just leave Martinez, De Ligt, and the cover, Evans. So Lindelof, I can't see anybody coming in buying an injured player in the transfer window at the moment. And he was looking as though like he was going to be sold and money brought into the club. But very, very doubtful what's going to happen with Lindelof now, because he's down the pecking order. And he was being earmarked for a transfer somewhere, but there was no real talk of him actually going anywhere. So very puzzling what's happening with Lindelof. But unfortunately, he's injured now, and it looks as though, by looking at him there, maybe October when he comes back.
Yeah, I think Lindelof has got a year left on his contract. I think Hannibal, he's got a year left as well. I think they're 2 players Man United do want to try and get out of the door. But like you say, with the injury with Lindelof, it remains to be seen if any clubs out there are willing to take a punt on him. Hannibal, I've always liked the player, to be honest with you. I thought he's got like that bit of grit in there. He's willing to put the work rate in, etc. But another player who doesn't look like he's fitting into Erik ten Hag's long-term plans. So I think there will be movement there. Pestre getting strong links with Panathinaikos in Greece. And I think that's a player we will see leave Manchester United, especially when you look at the Community Shield. Got brought on to play right back.
Yeah, I look at Pestre there. Talk of a move over the weekend.
We might actually need him at left back at some point, to be fair.
No,
do you know what I mean?
No, we're not having them injuries again, hopefully. Cross the fingers anyway. No, Pestre, talks of a move there to Panathinaikos. I think that'd be a good move. You've got to look at him there. Uruguayan international, but his route to the first team is blocked. I can't see Anthony making way for Pestre. I can't see Ahmad making way for Pestre. And if you look at it, we've just mentioned Jadon Sancho. If Jadon Sancho happens to stay at Manchester United, then there's no way for Pestre. So it's the right move. Any move away to any club, never mind Panathinaikos, is the right move for him. I don't think he's ever been given the opportunity to have a run at it. He's always been used at bit part players. And I feel sorry for him because I have liked what I've seen from him, but unfortunately, he's just not been able to force his way through, even though, and it's baffling, that he is a Uruguayan international and he's used all the time there and plays well. But the route to the first team is blocked. So Panathinaikos, I think they'll get a good player if they get him.
Frankie T, thanks for joining us. Sandeep Patel, thanks for your comment, my mate, and everyone else who's joining us today. But I'm looking at the current squad now and what we can bring in the transfer window. We're discussing Sander Berge and Ugarte. When does Mayu get a rest? Because that lad will need protecting throughout this season and be given time to have a rest and be brought off in matches without the quality drop that we would have with him being taken off. So I want to actually know your opinions out there. Who actually replaces Mayu when he does need that rest?
I'm not too sure.
Because the lad's quality. We all know what the future he's got. He's going to have a bright future, this kid. But he's one of the first names on the team sheet in that midfield for me. So if he does need a rest, who comes in?
Yeah, well, you look at Mayu there. Who's good enough on the bench to replace Mayu at this moment? Well, it's a difficult thing to do. Long season. Erik ten Hag has got his problem looking at resting players. Big problem all round. If you can add Martinez to that, how important? You know, you talk about Mayu always improving, and there's a lot more things to do there for Mayu to improve. But if you look at Martinez, listen, we lost Martinez, and we all know what happened.
Yeah,
there was no fighter, no warrior there. Obviously, Mayu's a fighter. He's improving all the time, getting better. Great to see. But Martinez, to me, if you talk the two, I think Martinez is a bigger worry. Who you're going to replace with Martinez, because he keeps that back four together.
You see how important it is as well with the central defenders, the defence in terms of the style of play, the build-up play, and how much an effect the defence have on the team going forward, not just in defence as well.
Listen, I've always said it, and I mean, many ex-players always tell you, and managers, you don't win anything with a rubbish back four, and Martinez there is a leader, and that back four's getting sorted out now. Yes, it'll take time and all that, but while it's taking time, you've got somebody who everyone looks at, right? Looks at for help, looks at for the determination, the fight and everything. And he's a warrior. He backs his players up. He's fearless. He don't take no messing. He helps out other players. And he steps into that midfield and takes a tackle. Excellent footballer. Excellent man. Excellent character. And I just cannot... I just hope that he gets through this season. If he gets through the season, I think Manchester United overall, you will see a greater improvement with the back four and with him in there. He's a bigger worry for me than actually losing Mayu for a few games than anyone.
Yeah, his overall importance in his leadership, etc.
Everything.
Yeah, you actually seen, I thought personally over the weekend, Harry Maguire's performance alongside Martinez. I think that gives him a lift and a confidence as well, which I think it would do with most players, to be fair. But it was good to see his performance overall.
Harry Maguire?
Well. Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah, I think the game suited Harry Maguire. You seen where he was sat back, receiving the ball, just sort of stroking it out at ease. I don't think he was really put under pressure. Harry Maguire, against a team what proper presses, you'll see Harry in a different light. He won't have the time and that. I'm not saying he'll play bad. You'll just see Harry in a different light. I don't think going forward, Maguire is exactly what we need, because he doesn't like playing the eye line. He struggles turning and all that. And we've got Delit now in there. I think he's an excellent purchase. And Lenny Yoro is the future. Unfortunately, he's out injured. But Harry Maguire, listen, hands up for Harry Maguire. But is not the future.
Yeah, no, of course. You look at that second half as well, where it was 2-on-1 against Harry Maguire, got the block in when Fulham were looking to attack, and then played the player offside as well. And it was like a really good opportunity for Fulham to try and get on the score sheet. And it got a big cheer inside Old Trafford when that happened as well for Maguire. So
listen, it got a massive cheer.
Yeah.
But I've got to be brutally honest here. That was a terrible pass.
Yeah.
It was a terrible pass. He stuck his heel out and he stopped it. All credit to him. He got the cheer. It was deserved because it was Harry Maguire and he deserves that look. And he got it, but it was an absolute dreadful pass.
McTominay, I've seen some reports this morning from over in Italy that he's actually agreed personal terms with Napoli. I'm going to take it with a pinch of salt because I've not seen anything from Romano or David Ornstein at this moment. But do you expect Scott to leave, though, before this transfer window? Because there's a lot of talk day after day with McTominay.
I said last week, after the game against Fulham, the talks will carry on. That's exactly what's going on. We've seen Sky report it. We've seen other people report it. Oh, Fulham are back in for McTominay. They've never gone away. How are they back in? They were here on Friday talking to United. I did say that will carry on. And then come Monday, which is exactly right, here we go again. All talk of McTominay, Fulham coming back in, and they just hope that United are willing to negotiate. Well, of course they're negotiating. They're just waiting for Fulham to stick the price up. Fulham know the price. That's all they have to do. Add a few quid, and then McTominay's on his way. But they're not back in. The talks have been ongoing, and it's just a matter of Fulham sorting out the finances.
Yeah, when you're looking at the position, what McTominay now plays in this team under Ten Hag, you know, more advanced than what he was, let's say, under Solskjaer, etc. And, you know, does Manuel Ugarte or Sander Berge replace Scott McTominay in the team? You know, from what I've seen of them two players, I don't think they do. I think they're more settled in and around the actual centre circle, more defensive. So is it a case of Mason Mount then taking over that role from Scott McTominay and providing the actual competition for places in that area?
I think if you look at Sander Berge, if we get Sander Berge, they put a bid in. If we get Ugarte, I'm not exactly sure how we fit Mason Mount in. I'm struggling to see how he fits in, but he needs a run of games, Mason Mount. Clearly needs the games. He didn't get them last year. So it's going to be tough for Mason Mount. But to be perfectly honest with you, that is what you want.
Yeah.
That's what you want from your squad, from your players and everything. You want them to fight, and you want them to fight in training. I've listened to Ryan Giggs, I've listened to Gary Neville recently, and they talk about
competition for places.
The competition for places, especially in training. And they thought training was harder than some of the games they actually played on a Saturday. So this is what you want. But for Mason Mount, if these two players come in, I think he's going to struggle. But that's what I want. I think he's a good player. He's just got to fight and keep his head up. Got a lot of critics, got a lot of people sort of calling him. But at the end of the day, I look at his position. He run and run and run. And he was failed by the wingers to back him up, closing down. I think United will have to look at Saturday's performance and say to themselves, did them wingers, what were out there, really do the closing down and chasing back? So there's things to improve on. But Mason Mount, right through the game, chased and chased. He just needs help. And maybe Erik ten Hag knows that. Yeah, but a tough time ahead.
Yeah, like you say, with the pressing from Mason Mount, you've got to do it as a unit, as a team. You know, if just one or two players are doing it, then the third or fourth player really ain't putting the heart into it. Well, teams will play around you, especially when we go to Brighton, and we know how their build-up play is from the back as well. So it needs to be spot on and improved on during training this week and going forward.
This is the big problem throughout last season, is chasing players back. Players stood there, hands on the hips, not doing the job. People not closing down. Yeah. This is a major problem. Erik ten Hag talks about being proactive and everything else like that, being on the front foot. Well, they still weren't all on the front foot on Saturday. That is a fact. They weren't tracking back them wingers as they should do, and they weren't closing down as they should have been doing. So there's work to be done. It has to change. If we want to do anything this year, if we want to challenge or win a cup or anything like that, closing down and chasing back has to improve. So that's one of the things I will be looking at every game, and every game they should be putting it in.
And hopefully through the games as well, it builds up the fitness. Still early on in the season, so it's a matter of keeping players fit as well, coming away from the games and building on that fitness and match sharpness overall. But I'd just like to thank everyone for joining us today, getting involved in the chat. It's been popping off as usual in there. If you'd like to continue the conversation, please do, and get involved in the comments underneath. A load of likes still on the video. Let's get that like mark up to that 700-800 mark. It'd be greatly appreciated. So smash that like button to support the channel, and we'll be back tomorrow with another Manchester United chat. You enjoy your day, everyone, and we'll see you again soon. Thank you.
Thank you very much.